second grand finalist here at the 31st DK.
Yep, I'm looking forward to see how it all goes down. But as of yet, Team Indonesia, they're going to be opening up with the Tang Ruby. We have Vin going to be opening up the map alongside with Sans. Moon, however, nothing much is crazy. But I feel like Zorn has the tendency coming in to actually go in for the invades, whereas Team Indonesia, they have actually swapped up their starting lane from jungle, where the Boxer is actually opting to go for the orange buff over the purple buff. And likewise coming from Chiku as well, it's kind of surprising usually that I was expecting them to go for a purple buff start, but they are both of them are actually mirroring each other, going for orange start instead.
It does look like both teams were considering the possibility that the enemy team might go for the invade. After all, these are both very aggressive teams, so they did decide to start on the orange buff as a safer way to avoid their first buff from being taken. However, interestingly enough, both sides have elected not to do so this time, so it's going to be a little bit more of a passive early game jungle than you normally would expect.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's more on towards the scaling into its later stage of the game, right? I feel like overall in general, Team Indonesia has a stronger late game potential because of the 1-1, but at the same time, the win condition for Team Malaysia is to accelerate the carries farm a little bit more to actually try and punish the Baxia later on, which we eventually require at least 2 to 3 items, like you said as well, potential golden staff coming in to actually scale towards the fight. Whereas from the side of Team Indonesia, all they gotta do is play as safe as possible, stall it out. Eventually, the 1-1 will just completely carry the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite difficult for Team Malaysia to fight into Team Indonesia once that late game comes around, because 1-1 is going to heavily outscale the carry played by Momo. And even if Momo is able to get a solid amount of items, he is always vulnerable to being one-shot by Sans on this Veil. That Windstorm dishing out a massive amount of damage. So Momo's positioning in this game has to be perfect.
Yeah, and currently Team Indonesia possessing members from 3 of the strongest Indonesian teams such as RRQ Hoshi, Onyx Esports, as well as Evil Legends. The Indonesian All-Stars are right here. It's no surprises they're looking to go in for the all-in GG gold medal push, but it is going to be very difficult. They are one of the top contenders, but before they do so, they need to overcome the odds. And based on the odds right now that I'm seeing, based on the drafts, I'm really liking the 1-1 pickup, and I'm really liking that they have this tanky composition that can make so much space and buy enough time. CW is known for his very, I would say, calculated farm or choices when it comes to getting farms and getting denied as well. So as long as CW doesn't get super, I would say, punished too hard from Team Malaysia, he is going to be able to scale his way through. And if you think about it, Team Malaysia's composition doesn't exactly have a very strong way to deal with the 1-1, except for the Kufra.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite difficult for them. They have to make something happen in the early to mid game. They can't afford to just play passively and allow the late game scaling to come into effect for Team Indonesia. I personally, though, don't think that's going to be much of a concern, because this is Team Malaysia we are talking about. They are going to make something happen. I don't think they can sit there and let nothing happen, because that's just not in their blood.
Yeah, I feel like Team Malaysia, they are going to be relying on an advantage where Chiku will have a little bit upper hand when it comes to punishing early objectives. The first 2 turtles is going to be the way to go, right? You have the little counter predator early on as well. Second with Retribution, you can dictate the tempo to time and steal the turtle away. So Team Indonesia is going to be prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be second semi-finals. We will be resuming the match, and this is going to be the match that you guys gotta watch.
What is interesting here is that Team Indonesia has elected to go with the Vin Sans combo instead of the Keyboy Luminaire combo. I'm wondering which of these lineups is actually the main lineup for Team Indonesia, but considering all these players are all-stars, I don't really think they need a main lineup. They can swap whoever they need around depending on the situation.
Agreed. Momo, however, gonna be farming a little bit greedy on this gold crab. Seems like he is gonna be able to get it as contrast to CW that's not going to be able to contest it as well. It seems like CW actually going for well, the exploit weakness marksman emblem instead of the I would say the mobility electro flash in that regards.
Yeah, but Weakness Finder is definitely a much more common pick for 1-1 regardless, so this is understandable coming out of CW. Right now, I'm interested in what Team Malaysia is going to try to do. As we mentioned, they need to start things off with momentum, and it does look like a fight is happening down here, but both sides are pretty tanky to start off the game, so no casualties just yet.
Yep, Chico taking a little bit of HP off in that remarks as well. He is going to be a bomber. He's going to have a lot of very, very quick objectives, but now the question remains, Team Indonesia, how can Sans benefit on the kill? Because who do they pick off? From the side of Malaysia, catching off 4 mates is nearly close to impossible because of the thick HP bar, unless he makes a mistake. Chico, however, is going to be an easier target to go for, but look at this. They are going to be zoning off Team Malaysia for this turtle pick, and 4 mates going to be coming in. And it seems like Team Malaysia, they will concede the first turtle just because they lost the map control rather early on.
I think that's a smart choice from Team Malaysia. Better to not force it here. Otherwise, they are just giving away advantage to Team Indonesia. They're already a little bit behind in terms of map control. Better not to give out more. Zorn here going to be waiting in the bush. He does see the rotation, so he's able to warn Momo to back it up.
Yeah, I don't think Team Indonesia knows he's still sitting there as well. Team Malaysia doesn't exactly have a good time to actually start off this fight rather early. They are going to be playing it a little bit safe before the next couple of fights. I believe Moon needs a couple more items as well. Sicilian, not exactly that strong rather early on, unless the Cloud Destiny starts to pop off. And so that's going to be the way to go for now. But I feel like Indonesia, despite after taking the first turtle, they're in a much more comfortable position to force fights, rather compared to Team Malaysia is looking to capitalize on mistakes just because of the economy lead coming from Indonesia.
Indonesia, once they hit level 4, are definitely much more capable of fighting as compared to Malaysia, simply because Albert on this Vaxia will be quite sturdy and will buy enough time for Vince and Sans to make havoc onto Malaysia's backline. Meanwhile, only Chiku can really take a good fight at level 4, so it's better for them to hold on a little bit for Moon and Momo, but they're looking for CW.
Yep, seems like that is going to be the case as well. CW cannot escape this. Do they have the damage finish bomb? Yes, they will. Down to his last health, but it seems like he won't be able to prop the crossbow attack, and he is going to survive. Zorn down to his last health, needs to make a run for it. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Indonesia is going to come in, and they will get first blood on Momo despite the nice attempt coming from Team Malaysia to get a kill. Oh my goodness, you hate to see it, but that is going to be a big fat win for Team Indonesia.
That's just really unfortunate for Team Malaysia there. They almost got CW, but ended up losing Momo themselves. And because they know Chiku is at bottom side, Albert able to invade and steal away Malaysia's orange buff.
Oh, that's very, very nicely done from Team Indonesia as well. And wow, the CW was able to survive that because of the inspired plays. He opted not to get staggered by the bouncer ball, just standing still, and he was just challenging his way through, somehow manages to get the proc, and because of that, Zorn is going to be able to be shut down. But as of yet, looks like the aggressive play coming from Vin is going to force a fight. Looks like a big I'm offender. Catches 3 members coming from Team Malaysia, and they are going to get chipped away, and just like that, Sans gets another kill, and Zorn gets picked off, and Indonesia immediately gets a huge lead in terms of economy, and immediately snowballs for the second turtle.
This is exactly the kind of start that Team Indonesia is looking for here. Chiku able to get his purple buff away from the invade, but you can already see that Team Indonesia is completely expanding their map influence into Malaysia's own jungle. And while yes, Momo and Moon will scale up quite well into the late game, we have to know that CW and Sans will do exactly the same. They can't let this continue happening.
Yep, and that's pretty much it for the fight for now. But as of yet, Team Malaysia, they are going to be in a very big deficit. Barely even 5 minutes in the game, Team Indonesia already getting a very quick tier 1 down bottom. Meanwhile, this is going to be a stalemate coming from both these teams as looks like there is going to be a pause here as everyone is going to be standing still as of yet, I guess.
So far, if we look at the net worth difference, Indonesia is already 3k in the lead, only 5 minutes into the game. This is a very big gap at this stage, and it's going to be quite difficult for Team Malaysia to come back from this, considering that Indonesia already has pretty notable control over the map, making it that much more difficult for the late game heroes on Team Malaysia to find space to farm.
Yeah, I definitely agree, considering that the one opportunity that Malaysia tried to make an attempt on towards CW was really good, but they just need one more auto attack to actually get the kill. If they got on the kill, it would have been an okay start for Team Malaysia, but ever since CW was able to get away with it and also come up on top against Momo, Toda Team Malaysia, they have to play this very, very safely throughout the next few fights, and it's just very, very difficult to do so just because of how oppressive the compositions that Team Indonesia have. Like, you have this mobility boxer that just goes in for the invades, and we talked about how strong the Franco has kind of stood in the meta. I'm offended, pulls in, immediately sets up for a big fight from Team Indonesia, just kind of puts them in a spot where they can force the fight however they want. Whereas from Team Malaysia, they are now in a situation where they are forced to react instead.
Yeah, right now Team Malaysia is in no position to be able to take fights at all, and Team Indonesia are doing a very good job of taking advantage of that window of opportunity. As long as they can continue controlling the map in this situation and expanding their influence and farm, it's gonna be a situation where there's not really much opportunity for Team Malaysia to come back, simply because in the late game, 1-1 is too strong.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but it all comes down to whether or not Momo is able to scale, right? If Momo somehow finds a way to get his goal that he just lost a little bit and somehow find a little bit more control, he is going to be able to try and chip and punish on towards the tanks coming in from Team Indonesia. Baxia is an amazing easy target for carry, but I feel like the Ruby is going to be a little bit difficult just because of how disruptive the Ruby can be in team fights. And honestly, I feel like based on how Indonesia was getting early tier 1 down bottom, there is a little bit more map control. It's very risky for Momo to get some farm down bottom, but if he plays his card safe, the lanes are continuously going to be shoved in the way where he is going to have a lot of safety and requires a lot of commitment from Indonesia to actually dive in unless the mid tower is going to be taken out.
But I do still think they have the resources to be able to dive onto Momo if he's just even slightly out of position. And since Team Malaysia now, they're going to be depending very heavily on Moon and Momo to get that late game scaling. They have to expend a fair amount of resources themselves just to protect these two heroes. And the more that they group up, the more that Team Indonesia can farm the rest of the map.
Yeah, I definitely agree where you're coming from as well when it comes to... I was expecting Luminaire to be playing in this game, but Vin playing on the role as well has had a very, very good start on Let's Fail. Means with his early kills, it is going to get those early power spikes on level 7, level 8 very, very quickly for the next upcoming fight. So as of yet, they are already in this vicinity, and I believe Sans did have, I would say, a first item Clock of Destiny instead of a usual upgraded boost shoes, and also a mystery shop. This is going to put him in a situation where he's going to hit very, very hard rather early, whereas Team Malaysia need to start to build a lot of magic defense very, very soon.
We can see here that both Sans and Win are waiting in the bush. They know that Zorn is waiting there, forces out the flicker from the Kufra. That is an important tool for this hero, and Zorn will not have access to it for the next 2 minutes.
Well, that is actually a big bait as well coming from him, considering that is major ultimates coming from Team Indonesia. But somehow Team Indonesia, they're not actually going for the first commitment as well. Sans doesn't have the ultimate, and looks like this is going to be option for Team Malaysia to make a fight. Chico tries to go in for a challenge. Win won't pay for the price. However, the crossbow attacks coming from CW will join in rather early, and this is what I'm talking about as well. He will always try and take advantage of the situation and to join the fight as early as possible, and because of this, he was able to get a very, very early lead just like that once again.
CW has already proven in many previous games that his mechanics are... Oh, no. That is not good. Formaze and Zorn instantly taken out. The combo from Indonesia proving to be way too strong. And Team Malaysia gonna drop another 2 members.
Oh my goodness. That was a big, big fat catch coming from Sans just like that. And over the items itself as well. Looks like they are going to be giving the third total in the bank. Meanwhile, on the top side as well, Momo is going to get completely bullied out from R7. He does have the power spike to fight his way through. Chico is going to be joining the fight, but look at this. R7, he doesn't really care. He wants to actually finish off Momo. Unfortunately to say, Momo is in a very threatening position. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Indonesia is going to be invading onto his Malaysia's buff territory.
You can see that because of this aggression from Indonesia, the way that they've been able to invade the jungle, Albert is already 2 levels ahead of Chiku. That's why the Ballman isn't doing much. They flicker backwards, catch out Moon, setting up the kill for Sans yet again. This Ruby Veil combo is a problem for Team Malaysia.
That's really, really scary considering that CY just walked past 4 Maze, completely ignoring the turret, and immediately shifts his focus onto his Moon. And I believe that Moon wasn't expecting that at all. And because of this priority decision coming from Indonesia, they were able to get a very, very easy pickings. Moon now, however, gets a Lightning Trunken, but is not going to do anything in this next couple of fights, considering how far ahead Team Indonesia is 8 minutes into the game. But it seems like we are going towards a pause for now.
I believe that we've heard that there is going to be yet another technical pause. Seems like there are some issues happening over there. So we do apologize to all of you watching at home. We as well understand that this does kind of mess with the momentum of the game a little bit. But considering that what is at stake right now for all of these teams, it is very important to make sure that any technical issues are resolved so that all of these players can play at maximum potential.
Oh, this is so very difficult to actually pick a fight as well, considering that this is all actually happening across the map. But overall, Team Malaysia, they really are struggling to find pickoffs just because of how oppressive the 1-1 can be. C7 right now is in a situation where they're so far ahead. He can do whatever they want, and there's nothing Team Malaysia can do as of yet unless Zorn gets a very sick catch, which is nearly close to impossible because of the constant disruption of the Ruby itself.
This is why teams ban out the 1-1. This is why the hero has been the most consistently banned out hero since the beginning of the SEA Games. The crossbow of Tang is too effective of a fighting tool. And if you give it to a player as mechanically skilled as CW here, it's just so free for Team Indonesia. It puts so much of a disadvantage in the pockets of Team Malaysia that they have to deal with. And yes, the Kufra is a good counter to the 1-1, but we've already seen in the early game that Team Indonesia is simply out-rotating them, and now that effectiveness has completely fallen off.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is in a situation where Team Malaysia, they have to get the miracle run, right? We were expecting that Chiku on the Balmond is going to get like early fights. And I hope that they do have a strategy to make a comeback, because as of now, we are going to be jumping straight into the game where Team Indonesia is going to be looking to try and chip away at everything. But based on the formations right now, Team Malaysia, they are going to be looking to help Momo get his farm. And that's going to be the early go-to staff coming from Momo.
It's pretty early, yes, but now you see Formaze, he's completely out of position. CW already has the crossbow of Tang, gonna be able to use it. Formaze down to his final HP bar, 1v4, nothing he can do. But I think this is fine, honestly. Formaze, he bought time. Malaysia got a tower in the top lane.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of space creation for him. He's going to be voluntarily serving a life, but here comes the pick off coming in. No, San's not gonna be able to connect that, so Team Malaysia will narrowly survive for now. San, however, going to be forced to recall back to actually get his health back up, but the Lord is going to be available for grab. Team Malaysia going to be completely ignoring it, likewise coming from Indonesia, but R7 will trade the tier 1 up top.
This is going to be pretty rough for Malaysia right now, but very easy sailings for Team Indonesia. They are currently 6,000 net worth ahead, 9.5 minutes into the game. I do think that a lot of that is going to be on CW as well, which is a situation you never want to be in against a 1-1.
Momo.
Now, R7 jumping on top of Momo. He's probably gonna get caught out here. Lethal counter.
Wait.
Not enough to finish him off. R7 gonna be able to walk away.
No way. R7 with the quick sidestep just like that. Not gonna be able to do anything about the situation. Oh, you hate to see it, but Team Malaysia are not gonna be able to do anything about that as well. He tried to sidestep his way through, but he went down with the last tick of health. It's just very unfortunate, and they needed that sort of kills to actually get some sort of recovery comeback in terms of economy.
As of right now in this game, it does feel like that Team Malaysia is getting quite notably outclassed by the all-star Indonesian team. Obviously, we've seen teams be able to pull off comebacks at this stage, but it's going to take quite a miracle run from Team Malaysia, as right now, all Team Indonesia needs to do is not make mistakes.
Exactly. The Lord is going to be grabbed from inside Team Indonesia. It is going to be forced down middle. Chico, however, is going to be slowing down the Lord a little bit here to try and sync up the lanes, but the rest of the Team Indonesia is going to be knocking into the inhibitors very soon. Team Indonesia seems like they are gonna try and close up the game very quickly, because Team Malaysia, they just lost all the outer turrets, and there doesn't seem to be a play anytime soon.
Team Malaysia right now are 9,000 gold behind Indonesia, 11 minutes into the game. This is the kind of goal discrepancy that you do not expect to be able to come back from. They need a miracle run. They need Indonesia to make some sort of massive mistake. And I'm pretty sure that from what we've seen of Team Indonesia, that is not going to happen.
Dude, CW is 9.3k net worth as of now. He's got the Athena show, he's got the Silent Phantom, and I don't think Team Malaysia can do anything to actually kill him, considering how mobile CW is, and he's already level 13. Moon is pretty much the main damage dealer to actually shove his way through, but it's nearly impossible to actually finish him off now as of this stage. You can see why Team Malaysia is just so afraid to force the fight, just because of how quickly CW is. Look at this. Barely even 12 minutes of the game, CW is already level 14, almost level 15.
Team Indonesia now has complete control over the map. They can farm both jungles with impunity. Team Malaysia completely forced to just stay in their base. There is nothing they can do. And Team Indonesia, all they gotta do is wait for the Lord to come back up, and then they can use it to push in. I don't even think Team Malaysia are close enough in terms of farms to actually defend against it.
Yep, and as of yet, seems like that is going to be the play to go. But I don't know. How long is this going to be dragged out? Because Team Indonesia, you can see smiles on Albert's face of wall as he is going to be looking to go in for a couple of crazy plays potentially. But this boxer is 1-0-4, level 15. They're just so far ahead in terms of economy, and there's just nothing Team Malaysia can do right now. And they're just sitting in the base, just waiting for the right moment, playing it a little bit safe. But I believe this next Lord, the moment the play comes in, Team Indonesia is going to be able to practice the defense for Team Malaysia. And I don't think they can actually do too much about it.
Yeah, I don't really think so. This is quite difficult to watch, to be honest. It is a very slow asphyxiation by Team Indonesia. The Luminous Lord has now spawned in the land of Dawn. Obviously, Team Malaysia not going to be able to do anything to contest this. And that means that we're going to be seeing this push down a lane very, very soon for what may be Malaysia's final defense.
Yep, exactly. And that is going to be, a little bit of pressure coming in as well. Formation is a little bit under level. Zord looks like he's going to try and make a play against R7. That is going to be the sprint coming from him as he zips out of the situation. He's going to be A-OK. And seems like Sprint on Esmeralda puts him in a situation where he's very, very difficult to kill. So no Purify, Sprint is ready to go.
Right now, we see Immortality being purchased by Vin as well, so he's going to be able to just execute even more aggressive plays. Luminous Lord pushing down but mid lane. CW dropping real low as well. Sam's going to be wasting his abilities, but Crossbow of Tang has been executed, taking out Moon. Formaze now in the backline along with Zorn. They get CW. Finally, a shutdown on the 1-1.
Oh, wow.
Luminous Lord taking out the mid inhibitor as R7 jumps in with the falling Star Moon, finding Chiku. Now, it is a 3v4 situation. Formaze, though, very tanky, can buy a lot of time. The Luminous Lord is now down. Formaze down to his final HP bar. They are clearing up the minion wave, but I'm offended. Catches out Formaze. He's gonna drop over to the side of Team Indonesia. Albert finds him. Zorn, Momo, the only one surviving. Momo trying to do his best, but he is the next target. He is going to get targeted. Flicker going to allow him to get out of that, but the final inhibitor will drop for the side of Team Malaysia.
Well, it seems like Team Indonesia, they're playing a little bit safe. They managed to get all the inhibitors, but they need to go for the reset. Not exactly sure why, but they do have the capabilities to close out the game. But playing it safe is going to be the way to go, just because of how, if they die a single time, it's going to give a huge swing in terms of economy into Team Malaysia. So not taking those kind of risks is going to be the disciplined plays, even though technically they can. However, Divine Clay purchase up on Moon means that he is going to start to clap very, very hard. But Team Indonesia, they are going to wait this out, and they are going to stop Team Malaysia because of this play. Not giving any sort of kills is the right play. If any one of them from side Team Indonesia dies, it is going to give a little bit of a glimmer of hope for Team Malaysia to come back into this game.
Except it's not going to make too much of a difference here, considering that the net worth difference now is 13,000 in favor of Team Indonesia. Yes, Team Malaysia were able to successfully defend their base in the previous push, but they lost all of their structures. And now with the next Lord coming up in 35 seconds, I am thinking that this game is not going to be lasting for too much longer.
Yeah, I don't know how this is happening as well, but we are heading towards late game territories as well, as Team Malaysia needs to hit their final level 15s. At 20 seconds left on the clock, Team Indonesia, they have the right play. Do they force the fight against Team Malaysia, or do they defend against the Lord? It's all about stalemates for now, as Team Malaysia can only sit and wait for the right moment to strike.
Right now, Malaysia, they've been stuck in their base for a very long time. They're just trying to hold the minion waves there for as long as possible for reasons that I personally am not very certain about. Guess they're just pooling up their resources here so that they can farm it all at once.
Yeah, I like this decision as well, where they actually freeze the lane and sync it up so that everyone has an even share of farm, so that they can actually scale together. It's a very, very, I would say, teamwork-based concept to play this style, but hopefully it's going to be enough, because as of yet, Momo is finally level 15. Somehow, they managed to actually scale into this game, and Momo is also going to be full slaughter right now. So one wrong move from Team Malaysia means that Team Malaysia is going to be able to make a comeback, because they've got the damage, they've got what they're capable of as well. As Team Malaysia, they have the power potion advantage, but I feel like it is going to be a pretty close one, because as of now, Momo is going to be able to hit very, very hard because of this place. The disciplineness of Team Malaysia to survive it all is going to be the way to go, but hopefully it is going to be enough. It's not too late yet.
The Luminous Lord now going to be pushing in mid lane. This is the final defense here. Formei's already tanking it up. They're ready. They flicker backward. I'm offended. Finds Momo. Mega kill going over the sands. Luminous Lord on top of the crystal. Jiku dropping real low as well. He's going to be the next one taken out. Immortality pop. Formei's on his last HP bar. Sands doing a lot of damage. And Indonesia just break right through the front door, taking game 1 against Team Malaysia. Roam. So, going to have a little bit of a harder time, but that's going to be a lane where neither hero is going to be able to get easy dominance. So we'll see if it's going to be enough as we now enter the Land of Dawn once again. One game separates Team Indonesia from qualifying to the Grand Finals.
Yep, you can see Zorn immediately going for an invis as well, immediately getting surrounded by members of Team Indonesia. He's got the sustain to do it, but he's going to be as annoying as possible. He is going to try and chip away at his Albert's HP, which he can, and it seems like he will be able to do so and escape scot-free. Team Indonesia not going to be not going to be reacting to this. Not respecting, I mean reacting to this apparently.
Yeah, and he does manage to force Albert to use the retribution, so he is fine. Momo taking a lot of damage. This is the strength of the Popol and Koopa matchup against Beatrix. This is a very good lane for CW, and Momo going to need to play very carefully.
Well, Arcel going to be making more on denying the jungle away from Team Malaysia from their perspective, and Zorn, however, is still going to be trying to mirror and annoy Albert as much as he can. Vin is going to try to zone him out, but there's only so much he can do. Zorn is going to focus on Albert once again. Team Indonesia cannot go a little bit out of control, so it is going to be a little bit more space for Team Malaysia to play across the map.
But this is definitely a much more comfortable start for Zorn. He is the type of player that wants to be able to do things like this, make an impact on the map. Even if he's not stopping Albert from taking the camps, he is slowing him down. And Chiku is already 1 level up on the Lancelot in position for the turtle.
Yeah, looks like Zorn is going to be trying to cause havoc throughout the rotation of the Team Indonesia. So much information has been gathered, but First Blood has been on its way. Team Indonesia get a kill on towards Momo up top alongside with Albert as well as CW. So this is another good start for the goal laner of Team Indonesia, CW.
Team Malaysia recognizes that Momo has been taken out. They're gonna try and trade it for the turtle. Tiku does have Retri, will be able to get Way of the Dragon onto Vayne, kicks him away, but Heavy Spin gonna be stopping Tiku from following up on the rest of his team. Now Zorn gonna continue harassing Albert.
Yeah, very good ideas on that regards when it comes to trading of both initiators, but however, top side, Momo gonna be losing out on the trades once again. Not looking good for Team Malaysia despite going 50-50s, but just like that, Team Indonesia, they will break the tier 1 up top. Barely 3 minutes into the game, they got a tier 1 up top just for CW.
That is going to be really bad for Team Malaysia right there. A full tower, full gold plating on the Popol and Koopa on top of 2 kills on his lane opponent is going to put Indonesia massively in the lead in terms of net worth. They already have a 1k advantage, and you can bet that Momo is going to have a really rough time now. I'm kind of surprised they haven't provided him with any more help.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult as well, considering how Zorn is just annoying Team Indonesia all the way through. But look at this, Zorn once again going to be going for the invade. Team Indonesia, they need to respect this, but Vin, he's going to go for a call out, and Tyrus Ray comes in, and they immediately look to punish this ball. Zorn make a run for it, and he escapes it scot-free, and that is going to be Indonesia committing to much space. and that is a little bit of space created by Zorn.
That was really close though. It was only thanks to Hilda's passive that Zorn was able to get out of that. Formaze and Chiku not actually aware that R7 is right here in this bush, gonna eventually run into him. But right now, the main issue is going to be CW. Already, you can see Vin is focused on protecting this Popo and Koopa.
Yep, Zorn now going to be opening up the map so they know exactly where he is. Here's the sound of the Tyrant's Revenge. Immediately sidesteps his way through, but he is going to look to try and farm his way and towards a fight. But Team Indonesia completely ignoring him all. But while that's actually happening, so the Langar strategy, Chiku going for the invade. He's going to get pinned off by the heavy spin, and just like that, no support whatsoever, and he is going to be bowed out. The rest of Team Malaysia is going to try and join in, but here comes the catch from Vin, and that is going to be killing spree secured by CW. And this is a big major win coming in from Indonesia again.
Team Malaysia right now is just completely lacking coordination. I'm not really seeing team movements across the map, and Team Indonesia are completely capitalizing on this situation. This is going to be a free turtle going to them once again. Team Malaysia, they've been able to maintain a pretty small net worth gap, but they cannot afford to allow more things like this to continue.
Agreed. But how this is going to be happening as well? Zorn could be opening up the map a little bit more. Meanwhile, Indonesia, they are going to be setting the fight. Chico is going to go in for Crash as well. They want to take the fight? Looks like they do not want to. Zorn is trying to harass the Sansa as well. Here comes the back. He pulls it away, flickers out of that situation, but the Sansa Girl will keep Sansa in place. Formace finally joins the fight, but it takes almost nearly forever to take him out. But finally, they take out this very annoying Lilia. However, here comes the catch coming from Terra's Reach as well. Nice flicker, 4 for 4 mates, catches the backline. They're fighting in towards the turtle pit, but the heavy spin will keep them in check. Team Malaysia able to sustain this brute frost as Moon is slowly chipping away and comes up on top. Finally, Albert joins the fight, but the damage has been done. They are trading 50-50s across the map, and somehow Malaysia was able to fight 50-50s.
That was a massive trade for Team Malaysia right there, being able to trade 2 for 2, taking out multiple members of Team Indonesia. The biggest impact of that is going to be on Moon, as he's going to be able to get a lot of stacks just from that single interaction. And this Cecilion is going to start scaling up.
Yep, Chiku now, however, is going to get caught up. He does have some toys for Son. He needs to make a run for it. However, Albert will not be able to trade him off despite the engagement. Zorn now going to try and chip away. He does have the information for Team Malaysia. Looking for the place. Team Indonesia is going to be grouping up a little bit more. But before that, let's take a look at items real quick. War Axe purchase up on Albert means he is going to hurt a little bit harder. But as compared to Chico's actually going for an early blade armor first, in contrast before going for the Sky Garden helmet.
We can definitely see the main problem now is going to be CW, though. He is so much richer than everyone else. Chico actually ahead of Albert as well. So Team Malaysia are not completely out of this. They are still in a pretty alright position. They just gotta make sure to catch out this Popo and Koopa.
Yep. I definitely agree. Zorn opening up the map. They do see the turtle plays coming in. They are calling in Chico to go and finish for a fight. And Team Indonesia doesn't exactly want to force the issue. Albert hasn't exactly had a pretty decent time. He needs to get some sort of kills, but look at how tanky Team Malaysia is, as they are going to be able to go for the invades finally. Chico looking for the right moment to strike. He's waiting out for the rest of the team to come in. Momo is going to come in as well from side Team Malaysia as they force the fight. Indonesia realizing they do not have damage. They are going to back off. However, they do find Zorn kind of stranded, but can they focus him down? No, unfortunately not going to happen. But from the side, Albert getting caught off by 4 mays. They go in for the catch and Momo completely obliterates him, and that is going to be Team Indonesia losing out a little bit of trade. However, they are not too happy with losing Albert life. They will take Momo's life once again as they go in for a split push fight. Sans, however, trying to buy a little bit more time, and the turtle, well, it's going to be in the hands of Team Malaysia, so there is going to be a very wild skirmish. Then from behind, with missing the mark, he's a little bit in the enemy territory, but Malaysia, do they have the XP to fight this? But it is going to be just the right amount of sauce to get the kill with the turtle ball. But oh my goodness, Formaze, the second free of the dragon, missing the angle. He is going to pay with his life as Team Malaysia is going for a very chaotic brawl and somehow managing to come up on top. on this freight.
Chaotic is the only word we can use to describe that right there. Malaysia should not be winning out these skirmishes, and they are not. Albert going in, getting another free kill onto Moon. They're at the very least trading somewhat evenly, but right now, I do think they're still being a little bit too greedy. Indonesia, though, needs to be a little bit careful. They are making some mistakes here, and they're underestimating the amount of damage that Team Malaysia is actually able to output. So right now, I do think that both teams are in a situation where they actually have to be quite wary of one another.
Yeah, but the Langa strategy coming from Team Malaysia is going to work out because 4May is now going to be making an attempt. He gets the Jikundo, however, forcing R7 for the heavy spin. 4May is trying to sidestep his way through. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so, as that is going to be a very, very nice pickoff coming from Team Indonesia. 5-0 and 1 on R7. Zon, however, is going to be pulled back as they slowly bully him out. CW starting to show signs of a lot of damage. Some 5s with 1 HP as Team Indonesia is biting back.
Yeah, but it's still going to be quite an uphill battle here. Team Indonesia are in a very comfortable position. They still have a 1k net worth lead. The Lord coming up in another 10 seconds. They will be able to get another tower down bottom side. Looks like we're going to be going into yet another technical pause here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Seems like they are going to be trying to set things out as well, because that was a very, very close fight. And considering that how the Langa strategy coming from Team Malaysia definitely caught Indonesia off guard, right? And the beauty about it as well, when they hit and force a fight, you do not expect it as well. You saw how 4Maze was able to fight in turtle fight as well. Because of that chaotic fight that is actually happening, Team Indonesia weren't really prepared to take a fight at all. And when they were caught off guard, they were forced into a fight where it could have been a 50-50 coin toss. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Team Malaysia would have won, but they somehow managed to clutch it. So it's all thanks towards this Cho, who's always consistently trading off 50-50s. You understand from the mentalities on both players, right? From the side of Indonesia, they're relying on this Akai to potentially go in for the backlines and Hurricane Dance and isolate one of the pickoffs. Likewise coming in from Team Malaysia as well, but they are going to take advantage using the Cho to isolate those kind of fights.
Right now, from what I can see of the way that these two teams are playing, Indonesia is playing more of a coordinated team fight style, and they're doing that very effectively. Whereas it does feel like Team Malaysia is focusing a little bit more on individual gameplay, just making sure that their own positions in the fight are all right. Both methods are obviously effective, but the Team Malaysia style takes a little bit more individual awareness and might be a little bit more tricky to pull off effectively. That is why I think they are able to take these fights, because it is a little bit more difficult for Team Indonesia to get a read on their plans. But they gotta make sure that Moon and Momo aren't getting caught out of position like they are.
Exactly, and Albert, despite having a pretty okay start, him not aware that 4Maze is going to be targeting him is going to be something that puts him in the dam in terms of economy. You can see Team Indonesia, they're playing a little bit more defensive now compared to game number 1. I think this adaptation coming from Team Malaysia is what is throwing them off guard. And Stan's now going to be forced to have early air black shoe as well. Going for Tyrant's Race, they do catch on one, and that's going to be Moon caught up, and that's going to be Indonesia finding an opportunity to actually take a fight on towards the Lord. However, Chico's still going to be in the vicinity, doesn't have the shoe back there as well. R7 still has the heavy spin, and they will completely isolate the fight. 4Maze Hunt seem to find them off guard, but R7 single-handed isolating the fight. They are going to try and risk and take the Lord, and that is going to be Albert securing for Team Indonesia.
Albert will be able to take that, but we see down here Momo actually getting a full lane of towers as well. That's going to be some farm for the Beatrix. 4Maze now in a lot of trouble. Gets the way of the dragon onto Albert, but that was just a desperate move to keep himself alive a little longer. Will get taken out. Jiku now in a lot of trouble, getting chased down by CW, but the torn rose from Albert going to miss entirely, allowing the rest of Team Malaysia to walk away.
Now with the Lord going to be in the hands of Team Indonesia, they are going to have a little bit more momentum to push the lane. Team Malaysia forced to play a little bit more defensive. However, it is going to be a little bit of a trade coming in from Momo, but to what extent is it going to be called enough? Because based on the items right now, Team Indonesia, they do have a little bit more capabilities to work with, because Arsen was able to get an early 5-0-2. He was able to get the Dreadnought armor rather early to deal with all this physical damage that Momo is going to be bringing to the table. However, looks like that it's going to be a fight coming in. Team Malaysia is going to be forcing the Lord fight as well. Team Indonesia waiting for the right moment to pin him to the wall, but no! They underestimate the power of Moon, and that is going to be Sans respecting and backed off R7, using the heavy speed to secure the formations and safety of his fellow compadres.
A good Lord defense from Malaysia as they're able to zone out the rest of Team Indonesia, but we can already see a similar effect to what happened in game number 1. Now that Team Indonesia have more map control, they're gonna start taking away jungle camps from Team Malaysia. But Zorn walking into the bush, not realizing just how many of them there were, getting taken out very quickly on. Vin buying a lot of time in the backline. A nice Kundo, but Forme is not gonna be able to do much. Heavy spin pins Chiku against the wall. You will be able to survive for now, almost taking out R7, but the rest of Team Indonesia will follow up. 3 kills for nothing.
Nicely done coming from Team Indonesia with the heavy spin to isolate the fight. Team Malaysia tried to go in for a force fight. Unfortunately, could not get the trade-off in terms of the better end. Momo does have a little bit more economy to actually win this fight. However, they need to figure a way to deal with Sans. And look at this Moon. He's going to get bursted down. And Sans goes in for the Shadow Bomb. And that's going to be a very, very nice pickup coming from Sans.
We are seeing an unfortunate repeat of game number 1 now. Malaysia put up a pretty good fight so far, but now Indonesia is really growing their net worth lead. A 6K difference in their favor. They again have control over the map, and Team Malaysia is going to be that much more difficult for them to actually extend out and get some farm on their later game course.
Agreed. It's going to be a very difficult situation, but Indonesia, like you said as well, is going to have a 6K net worth lead. And now 20 seconds left before this next Lord. Indonesia is going to try and set things up. R7 going to be opening up the map, trying to, zone off the map. But it seems like there is going to be a split attempt coming from Indonesia to try and punish any spot of split pushers coming in from Team Malaysia. R7 intentionally showing himself down bottom, making sure that there's no cut-off strategy from Team Malaysia to punish Albert, who's currently having a very difficult time getting some sort of fun. But initially, and now with 4, 1, and 15, they're setting their marks in towards the Lord pit now.
You can see that Ben is still putting a lot of attention into protecting CW, and that is because the rest of his team doesn't need his help anymore. All he has to do is defend their primary DPS. Now the Lord has come back up once again. Indonesia going in, looking for Moon. A nice sidestep from the Sicilian allows him to avoid the Torrent Rose.
Yep, seems like Moon is going to be forced to pop the ultimate a little bit earlier as he needs to back off. Meanwhile, here comes the concealed play coming from Indonesia. They also focus on 4 mains, but this is a Cho we're talking about. It's not exactly an easy thing to fight, but Chico go looking for the flank. They catch on to the win. A 3-man Chico coming from 4 mains is great, but it's not going to be enough as there is no follower from side Team Malaysia. Now they are going to be on retreat as well. As you can see, R7 focusing on Momo to try and isolate the fight, while the rest of Team Indonesia are grouping up to try and salvage the situation. Move gets a nice sanguine goal, wants to turn the tide. Here comes Zorn looking for the chop. Indonesia needs to respect this. Finally, Momo goes for a big out. Indonesia has to respect it and back off.
This is actually not that bad for Team Malaysia. He only losing 4 mains in that entire skirmish and actually zoning out the rest of Team Indonesia away from the Lord. It looks like they're still not going to take the risk to go for the Lord as of right now because they can't afford for Indonesia to have it stolen. This is quite unfortunate for them. 4 mains trying to look for CW, but gets stopped and dies before he can finish off the Way of the Dragon.
Now, I really like how that Team Malaysia is understanding that the main damage output coming from Team Indonesia is pretty much the Lilia, right? The moment they use up all the Shadow Bomb charges as well as the Black Shoe charges, that's pretty much no damage whatsoever. And once they're able to sustain this way through, Team Indonesia is going to be really heavily relying on towards CW and Albert's damage. And once you sidestep all of that, it's not really that much of a threat. And if they can isolate and also waste up all the spells, they can look for retaliation, which we did see that time and time again, Team Malaysia was trying as much as possible to dodge all this fight before re-engaging.
Yeah, but hopefully it's going to be enough now because they are still 6K net worth behind. The Lord is going to be challenged once again. Team Indonesia all around. Chiku gonna be running into a couple of them in the backline, taking a lot of damage from Albert. Zorn trying to stop Vin as Sans is in the backline. He's aiming for Momo. Chiku gonna be able to... Oh my goodness, Momo just disappears. CW taking a lot of damage from Moon as well as Vin now going to be zoning out 4 maze. They're looking for one more Moon, going to be the next target taken out. Chiku and Zorn now going to be focused. Sans doing so much work on this Lilia, and the rest of Team Malaysia have to back this off.
Oh, that's the thing about the Lilia as well. Once you go for Shadow Ball, you get kills. This is huge for the team, but it is a hit and miss. But beautiful rotation coming from Sans as well, going for the fight, knowing that he does have the advantage when it comes to beating up spells. And because of that, Moon and Momo just could not stand a chance. They weren't expecting a flank of a Lilia coming from behind, and because of that, they are going to lose the trade very, very quickly. quickly. But it's understandable why Indonesia made the play. They know Formase has a tendency to go in for split push. As soon as they saw the Cho down bottom, they immediately forced the fight.
I'm just really impressed at the way that Sans was positioning in that fight as well. The fact that he was being targeted by Team Malaysia and still found the time to just take out Momo, even though he didn't look like he was looking in that direction at all. Luminous Lord now pushing up top lane. CW doing a lot of damage to the bottom inhibitor as well.
Yep, Team Indonesia now going to be knocking onto the inhibitor. It looks like there's going to be a force fight up top. And Lord is going to be pushing on towards the inhibitor. Chiku needs to play a little bit safe. He's taking a little too much damage as well, as he's going to make a run for it. While Indonesia can't seem to pick him off. They are going to try to get more objectives. Albert, however, is going to back off a little bit more and hoping that Team Malaysia is going to be making a little bit of punishment as well. Win cooking up the Tyrant's Revenge. Not going to connect on this Team Malaysia. But as of yet, they're playing in the mid space.
Right now, we're in a situation where Team Malaysia does need to find some sort of pickoff. But Team Indonesia can do that so much more easily and so much more effectively. Looks like we're going to be going into a pause yet again. Again, apologies to all of you watching at home. We gotta make sure that everything is all okay for these players. We don't want them to end up in difficult situations just because of a technical issue.
Yep, seems like there is going to be a little bit issue there coming from Team Indonesia as they try to resolve it as quickly as they can. But as of now, Team Indonesia is in a position where they're able to capitalize on a lot of this fight. And like I said as well, Sans on the Lilia becomes a very, very important factor in all these upcoming team fights. And you can see as well that the difference between the Lilia as well as the Sicilian is that Sicilian is looking for that very, very a nice push, whereas Lilia, you can make plays by using yourself as a bait. So it's a little bit different in terms of approach, but I feel like Sans moving up forward and confidently saying that there's nothing Team Malaysia could have do to himself and also get kills out of it was just insane. I think that there was a little bit of miscommunication coming from Team Malaysia early on with that fight, but because of that small mistakes, Team Malaysia was just completely rolled over for that Lord fight at all.
Absolutely. Right now, I do feel like the style of gameplay that we're seeing from Team Malaysia is just not working out. It still feels like they're all individually trying to achieve their own objectives in a team fight, and they're not far ahead enough for that to work out. Formase in the backline looking for CW, but even if he does get the kick, no one is close enough to be able to follow up because the backline is being dismantled by R7 and Sans. Team Indonesia right now have a very comfortable ticket to victory, and something must happen for Team Malaysia to move on here in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the Archive is going to be bringing it to the table as well, because you see as well, C7 is just so important. R7 is just so important in all these trade-offs just because of the Archive being able to disrupt other formations regardless of where the place it is. It is going to put a dent into the ideas and conversations on how they set up their follow-up. So without further ado, we're going to be continuing the game in game number 2 as of yet, as there is going to be Indonesia taking a very, very huge lead against Team Malaysia with a 10k net worth lead against Team Malaysia on top of it.
10,000 gold difference is usually a very safe bet to say that it's not going to be something you come back from. But if Team Malaysia are able to delay the game long enough and actually get full items on their team, then this difference won't actually make that big of an impact. The question is whether or not they are actually able to delay it to that extent, because Team Indonesia right now are continuing to zone them out of their own jungle.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. But Indonesia, R7 looking for the catch. Looks like he almost catch Formase, thinking about a heavy spin. But this is a Cho we're talking about as well. Moon, however, barely trickling down onto R7's health, and this just shows you how much magic resist he has as compared to the other to Chiku, who's also starting to struggle in terms of damage output.
You can see that Chiku is trying to go into the enemy jungle to see if there are any camps left for him to farm, but it is all empty. Indonesia has been very efficiently farming up not just their own camp, but all of Team Malaysia's camps as well, which is just making it that much more difficult for any attempts at catching up to farms to happen.
Yep. Now Chico going to be baiting reactions coming from Team Indonesia. They are not taking it yet, but Indonesia has a little bit more control onto his Lord Fate. But Team Malaysia, they are going to try and force the fight, but it looks like Team Indonesia, they concede the Lord, and they now going to be forcing it down to the middle. Here comes the pull coming in as well. They catch on Zord from side Team Indonesia, and Team Malaysia has to back off. Here comes the heavy spin coming from R7. He's got the sprint, but immediately gets cancelled as well, as here comes the re-engage coming from Team Malaysia, but they just don't have the damage, and they are afraid of what Suns is bringing to the table. The Shadow Bomb just isolating Team Malaysia from pressing forward. And while that is actually happening as well, Albert as well as CW is going to be focusing on the Lord. And this is just a very, very convincing takedown coming from Team Indonesia.
This is just looking real bad for Team Malaysia right now. Formate's trying to buy some time. Sans just negating all of the damage from Moon with the Black Shoes as well. We have reached the 20-minute point. In this game, the Lord has successfully been taken by Team Indonesia, and this is now going to be the do-or-die defense by Team Malaysia. If they lose this, they will be dropping down to the third place bronze match later on against Team Singapore.
Agreed. But as of yet, having the Radiant Armor up onto his R7 is a great indicator to just shut down Moon's overly progressive stacks in terms of damage output. So it's a way that counters his playstyle, but at the same time, here comes the Flicker coming in! Catching on Moon, and that is huge, but he is going to be able to escape his ball. But at the same time, Formate goes to the setup as well. He is going to burn through to his immortalities. But Malaysia, can they fight? No, a little bit more. No, they cannot. Albert is on a godlike streak as he takes Formate down. Meanwhile, Chico is completely isolated from the rest of his members as he is going to be taken out, and his immortality completely wasted down as Team Indonesia will get 2-0 trade-off as they continue with their assault. They're looking to close up the game. It seems like this is going to be a very, very good time for them to do so as they continue to push forward, and they're focusing the crystal, and they have done it. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Indonesia are your second grand final.